Welcome everyone, this is Small Town Theater. Here you will find stories and tales from all genres. All stories are original and one of a kind. They are written by R. Morgan. Be sure to stick around, there are many stories to tell. Please like and subscribe.
Mission Report 3. Mission Report to the Director of the Department of Defense. Experiment Nevada Sun. The following reports will cover the days of June 11th and June 12th. Mission has provided great success. There have been no interruptions or missteps along the way. Along with that, we have finished ahead of schedule. The core has been finished. During the second day, we provided the specifications needed to complete the core. The subjects were focused and determined to complete their task. They are so determined they lost track of time. They completed their daily task shortly after midday and begin to work on the next day's tasks. On day 3, they seemed even more focused than the prior day. Because of their determination, we were able to assemble the core by the end of day 3. This was remarkable progress. The 7-day task was completed in a mere 3 days. Truly impressive. Without doubt, we have learned a lot and will apply this to future missions. Physically, the subjects are in good health. It was believed that after day 1, their bodies would be fatigued. However, that is not the case. By the end of day 3, they appear to have more energy than in day 1. This is in no doubt to the sharpened mental focus. It appears their minds will not let them get fatigued. Mentally, the subjects are firm. Since day 1, their mental focus has improved and sharpened. They have shut out all aspects of their lives and merely focused on the project. The radio broadcast has shaped their fears into endless determination to complete the project. A true masterpiece of how to sharpen the mind. The subjects' wives continue to show good physical strength. In the past 2 days, there has been no notable change. They continue to do their work and take little breaks. They maintain a strong bond with each other. This was expected, and we expect it to continue till the end of the experiment. Mentally, the wives seem distraught. It appears the radio broadcast has made each one of them fearful. To start off their work shifts, they discuss the broadcast. But as they work, they tend to forget. This fear they have has been perfect, as it is leading to the male subjects to work harder and efficiently. The subjects' kid remain physically well. It is apparent, however, that their mental state is fragile. This was expected given the nature of the radio broadcast. Aside from the broadcast, the concern for their parents is also weighing on their minds. As stated, this was expected, and it's playing out like clockwork. With the subjects finishing their project ahead of schedule, we will begin the final phase of the experiment on June 13th. We have been satisfied so far with the experiment and look forward to the final phase. The data we retrieve will be crucial for years to come. We will disclose all findings at the conclusion. The subjects have been given the day off on June 13th. It appears all subjects will be gathering at Major Green's household for social function. They will gather at 10 a.m. So we will begin the final experiment at 11:55 and conclude at 12:15. We will follow the mandatory 24 hours and then proceed with the data collection at 12:30 on June 14th. In conclusion, the project for the subjects was an amazing success. The data collected so far is above and beyond what we expected. The experiment is coming to an end, and we expect strong results with the conclusion. I will report back to you once all data is collected and experiment results are gathered. Statement prepared by Dr. Anton Silver, lead scientist of Blue Tidal Research. Day 4. June 13, 1955. Undisclosed military installation in Nevada desert. It is 5 a.m., and the base has sounded a soft alert to all personnel on base. The base has issued a complete shutdown. All personnel to report to designated battle positions and to be on high alert of intruders, both foreign and domestic. General Polar, Lieutenant Dupree, and Dr. Silver gather in their designated room. Lieutenant Dupree makes a call to the Department of Defense about the lockdown and the final phase of the experiment. The Department of Defense acknowledges the base and issues an alert to all military branches and personnel to stay clear of the base. Not too long from now, we will conduct the greatest experiment the world will ever know, Dr. Silver says. Yes, but at what cost, Doctor? Just to let you know, I disapprove of this project, General Polar says. I understand, General. This experiment isn't for everyone. It can be cold and calculated, but it is necessary. The results gathered here will be beneficial for all mankind for years to come, Dr. Silver says. It is now 10:30 a.m. across the Nevada desert. The three men and their families were given the day off today. It is partly cloudy day outside, otherwise it is your typical summer day. The alert at the base did not make its way to the families out in the community. Unaware of any alert, the families gathered at the Green's household for some rest and relaxation. The three men, Major Green, Captain Polk, and Captain Grant, gather outside the house. Major Green's sons, Taylor and James, are also outside throwing a football to each other. Under a canopy, Major Green is firing up the grill, while Captain Polk grabs some beers and Captain Grant adjusts the radio. It should be a nice day. There is meat on the grill, cold beers on hand, and a baseball game that starts at 11:30. Inside the house, Sonia Green shows off the interior to Sarah Polk and Emily Grant. Tom and Emily Grant's daughter, Rachel, is also in the house with the ladies. The wives talk and share cooking tips while the men are outside. Each woman compliments each other and says they will miss the time they spent together. It is now 11:05 a.m. across the Nevada desert. The Green household is entertaining the Polk and Grant family. Miles away, the base remains on lockdown. I'll tell you what, gentlemen, I'm going to miss this house. The house we have back home is literally half the size of this one, Major Green says as he comments on the two-story house. You're not kidding, Taylor. The house we have isn't as big, but the brick sure is nice. I'm going to have to look into it when I get back home, Captain Grant says. All I can say to you guys is you lucked out. They gave Sarah and me our damn bunker to live in. The inside is nice, but I still feel like an ant living down there, Captain Polk says, grinning. Underground living, isn't that something? Who knows, Polk, that might be the new way of living. Heck, they got trains underground, why not houses, right? Major Green says, chuckling. I don't know, Green, just the thought about it doesn't sound right. I mean, there's no windows and no view. It's okay for Sarah and me, but I can't imagine how kids would handle it, Captain Polk says. You're right, Polk. I'm sure Rachel would lose her mind in a place like that. Heck, I think Emily would probably lose it first, Captain Grant says with a slight laugh. I'm glad we completed our work. I wasn't sure if we were going to be able to meet their timetable. Good thing you guys know your work, Major Green says. You know your stuff too, Green. They did throw a lot on us, though. Good thing it wasn't nothing we couldn't handle. Guess we'll see what else they have for us come tomorrow, Captain Grant says. I wonder what it could be. By the sound of the radio these past few nights, I wouldn't doubt if they need more bombs. Those Soviet boys sound like they want war. If they're going to start one, we're going to have to end it, Captain Polk says. Absolutely, Polk. We are going to be the ones to end it. But let me tell you something, the next war we fight is going to be different from the last, Major Green says. What do you mean? Captain Grant asked. Look at the evolution of war since the turn of the 1900s. We went from swords and muskets to machine guns. From trench warfare to armored tanks. Dogfights in the sky to chemical warfare on the ground. To top that off, we dropped the bomb on Japan and have sent shockwaves to all humanity. That bomb, that's the future of our warfare. That future will lead to our end. God help us should any country drop a bomb again, Major Green says. That's an eerie stuff, Green. But I agree with that assessment. Who knows what those Soviets are going to do? I just hope they know the consequences, Captain Polk says. Both of you guys are right, but today is our day off. Also, the game is about to start, Captain Grant says, smiling. It is 11:35 a.m. across the Nevada desert. The three men finish their conversation about work and start talking about baseball. The Greens kids are still passing the football to each other. Down the road at the base, it remains on lockdown. Inside the Greens house, the women are talking to each other. I must admit, girls, I have enjoyed this mission. This is the first time I can be able to contribute to Taylor's mission. It feels good, Sonia Green says. You're right, Sonia. This mission has been exciting, and I'm glad we were able to meet each other, Sarah Polk says. Thank you, Sarah and Sonia, I feel the same. I never would have thought the Army would let us be involved with our husband's mission, Emily Grant says. In all the years Taylor and me have been together, this is a first. Heck, there was times when Taylor couldn't even tell me where he was going, Sonia says. Oh, I hate those days. Tom would get those missions almost every week. I hate it, not knowing where he was going. It feels so helpless, Emily says. Fortunate for me, I haven't had that problem. John is usually stationed at the base and usually doesn't deploy much. I'm grateful for that, Sarah says. Consider yourself lucky and blessed, Sonia says. I do. I just wonder what is going to happen now that they completed their mission. Sarah says. I don't know, but you girls better keep in touch. I usually hate when Taylor has the top secret missions, but this one was great, Sonia says. I feel the same. You girls better keep in touch, Emily says, smiling. It's 11:45 a.m. across the Nevada desert. The three families are inside the house of the Greens residence as they talk and make side dishes for their cookout. The men are outside by the grill. They are listening to the baseball game, drinking beer and laughing. Miles down the road, the base remains on lockdown. A urgent radio transmission plays on the radio. We interrupt your regular scheduled broadcast with this urgent news report. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I come to you with dire news. At 11 a.m., the Soviets invaded West Germany. This has provoked Allied forces to engage Soviet troops. At 11:30 a.m., it was confirmed that Soviet armed forces launched and detonated a nuclear bomb near Switzerland. At this time, we are unaware of the number of casualties. At 11:35 a.m., the military officials confirmed that a Soviet bombers are en route to mainland United States. Everyone on the West Coast, and everyone 150 miles inland of the West Coast, seek immediate shelter. This is not a drill. Immediate danger to life is expected within the next 10 to 20 minutes. Once again, everyone on the West Coast and 150 miles inland of the West Coast seek immediate shelter. This is not a drill. There is an immediate danger to life within the next 10 to 20 minutes. We will cease radio broadcast at this time. While we ourselves seek shelter, please everyone take care and God bless us all. It is 11:51 a.m. across the Nevada desert. The radio broadcast has played across all channels and the transmission has ended. At the Greens household, all the families had gathered for the day. A loud siren has blazed over the area. The siren begins as the radio transmission ended. What do we do, Major? Should we go to the base? Captain Grant asked frantically. No, it's too late for that. Remember what General Polar said, we would be better off staying in our houses, Major Green says under some composure. We better start to bunker down. Major, thanks for having us over, we will be heading home, Captain Polk says. The men's wives rush out as the radio transmission ends and as the sirens begin to blaze. A look of fear and horror grip the women and children. An unsettled feeling begins to set in. Emily, get Rachel, we are going home. Everyone be careful and may God help us all, Captain Grant says as his family and him hurry home. Sarah, we should be on our way. I wish this day could have gone by better, Captain Polk says as Sarah and himself run to their home. Taylor, what do we do? Sonia says frantically. Boys, hurry, go inside. We will get into the middle of the house. That should be the safest and most sturdy place of the home, Major Green says. The Greens family gather at the center of their two-story wooden house. The Grant family gathers at the center of their brick house. The Polk family gathers in their bedroom. It's the room furthest from the entry door leading to their underground home. It is 11:55 a.m. cross to Nevada desert. All radio broadcasts have been suspended. The families of the Greens, Grants, and Polks are inside their assigned homes and believe they are safe. The sirens remain blazing across the area. Miles down the road, the base remains on lockdown. A single bomber plane is in the runway. There are no sirens at the base. General Polar, all steps have been taken. We are go for the final phase, Lieutenant Dupree says. It's not too late, you know. We can still abort the final phase, Doctor. General Polar says out loud to Lieutenant Dupree and Dr. Silver. We have come too far to abort now, General. We must carry on with our mission and complete the final phase, Dr. Silver says. God forgive us. Lieutenant Dupree, carry on with the final phase. Give the bomber the clearance to depart, General Polar says uneasily. Final phase initiated, General. The bomber is on its way. ETA 10 minutes, Lieutenant Dupree says. Acknowledge, Lieutenant. 10 minutes, General Polar says out loud. It is now 12:05 p.m. in the Nevada desert. The final phase of the Nevada Sun experiment is underway. Undisclosed military installation is closely monitoring the final phase. The families remain secure in their homes. The sirens have stopped blazing in the area. The only sounds the families hear are that of an incoming plane. Sir, the bomber is asking for it. Authentication drop code, Lieutenant Dupree says. Put me on speaker, Lieutenant Dupree, General Polar says. You are on speaker, General. Bomber, this is General Polar. Your drop code is Q. Do you copy? We copy, General. The code is confirmed. The drop is underway. Copy, Bomber. Drop is underway, General Polar repeats with a sad sound. This is it, General, the final step. The information we gather will be useful for years to come, Dr. Silver says with a smile on his face. It is 12:15 p.m. across the Nevada desert. General Polar authenticated a drop code for a bomber to disperse of its payload. The bomber has achieved its assignment and is en route back to the base. The final phase is underway at the subject's residence. The sirens have stopped blazing at the residents' homes. What replaced this siren was the sound of an incoming airplane. That sound was very familiar to Major Taylor Green as he hears it get closer. That sound also tickled the ear of Captain Tom Grant as he looked over to his wife and daughter. There was no sound for Captain John Polk, just the hum of the refrigerator. Major Green then heard another faint sound. A sound he heard long ago during the Second Great War. Had he not heard it before, then he would have never heard it over the plane propellers. The fast sound of a bomb falling from a bomber plane. Major Green knew exactly what it was. Captain Grant heard that faint sound. He knew it sounded familiar, but couldn't put his finger on it. The nerves and fear going through his head shut out any memory of that sound. Those plane propellers grew loud in his head as his mind spinned ever so faster. It was now a matter of seconds before the bomb would detonate. Major Green told his family to come in close. They all gathered in a hug. Major Green held on tight as the plane propellers began to fade and the faint sound went quiet. Major Green held on tight to his family as he looked out the window and saw a white flash outside the window. The flash was coming from the backside of his house. Then there was a loud sound and the earth began to shake around them. The roof ripped away and the walls didn't cave, but rather blew away. Major Green looked out the window as the walls blew away. He felt the heat from the Nevada summer day. Now that desert heat was mixed by the nuclear heat. The Green family made eye contact with one another. It all seemed in slow motion as the once two-story house disintegrated in seconds. Major Green let out one last smile to his family. Major Green felt the excruciating pain, but just for a moment. Soon the pain went away. Captain Tom Grant's mind was racing like those plane propellers, but that went away. His daughter Rachel yelled as a white flash came in through the kitchen window. Captain Grant took his family and curled them into a ball. He then placed himself over them. They closed their eyes as they heard the explosion and felt the ground shake. It wasn't too long after that the roof was ripped off. As that happened, the walls collapsed into themselves. Captain Grant felt the heat pour in as the roof ripped away. Aside from the heat, the collapsing walls took a toll on Captain Grant's body. Not only did he feel the bones break, but could hear the cries from his family. The smell of burnt flesh filled his nose, with the burning flesh of his body and his family's. Captain John Polk hugged his wife Sarah. The two became extremely scared as a loud explosion and earthquake rattled their underground home. Their belongings fell off the shelves and power was lost in their home. Captain Polk informed Sarah to stay in place for a 24-hour cool down. It is 12:17 p.m. across the Nevada desert. The final phase of the Nevada Sun experiment has been concluded. The damage will be assessed after a 24-hour period, which will be June 14, 1955-1217 p.m. As of now, the residents of the greenhouse sustained catastrophic damage. The Grant residence seems demolished and the Polks remain underground. The base remains on lockdown. General Polar, Lieutenant Dupree, and Dr. Silver are in a room monitoring on a closed-circuit TV. The feed is coming from a video camera on the base, overlooking the direction where the subjects' residents are located. They monitor the bomb's detonation in real time. The project is complete. Now we must wait 24 hours so we can assess the results, Dr. Silver says. Results, Doctor? That's what you call results. Those were innocent people out there. Honorable men who served their country. You use them like rats for your experiment. There is no place in this world for people like you, Doctor. You sit there and play God. You should feel ashamed for this experiment, General Polar says, screaming out loud. You can demonize me all you want, in general. But so long as there are men like you that follow orders and don't question what is asked, then this will always happen. As long as the world creates people like you, then there will always be a need for someone like me, Dr. Silver says with a smirk. General Polar growls at Dr. Silver for his comments. He storms out of the room with Lieutenant Dupree behind him. Dr. Silver remains in the room and monitors the screen as the mushroom cloud begins to dissolve. A slight smirk across the doctor's face. The doctor anxiously awaits to access the residence site, so he can begin to write his final report.
Thank you for listening. Join us next week for another episode of Nevada Sun. Please subscribe, like and follow.